Hello students, I Kamlesh Kumar. Welcome to all of you at my YouTube channel Social Science Academy. In this video, we are going to start the topic Directive Principle of State Policy, and till now in this chapter we have finished fundamental rights and fundamental duties. So let us begin with the Directive Principle of State Policy. Basically, the Directive Principle of State Policy are guidelines or instructions or an step to make India a welfare state, or it is a directive or guidelines or instructions given by the constitution to the states to follow such guidelines in the making of policies for the welfare of people. The governments at all levels are expected to frame their policies in accordance with these principles with an aim to achieve our national goals and establish a welfare state in India. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar considered these guidelines as a powerful instruments for the transformation of India from a political democracy into an economic and social democracy. So there are various views about the directive principle of state policy. Let us keep in mind one thing, that these directive principles are not justiciables, means the court can not implement or enforce it. It is obligatory to the states to follow it in their specific circumstances. It is not compulsory, it is not necessary to follow all these guidelines by all the states. It depends on their circumstances, in their situations, local situations. So this is one of the important thing. Now let us discuss the classification of the directive principles. Although the directive principles of state policy are in a larger number, they have been grouped into four main categories, and these four main categories are economic principles, social principles, Gandhian principles, and principles related to international peace and security. Only two principles from each category are given below to make you understand the nature of directive principles. So let us think. First, economic principles means whenever the state government will make economic policies, they will consider various economic prospects for the people. And let us have an example: to secure equal pay for equal work for both men and women, means there will be no discrimination on the gender basis, that the male will get the higher payment for the same work and women will get the less payment for the same work. Means both the genders will be given equal remuneration, equal payment for the same work. So it is one of the considerable point while making policies at the state level to provide adequate means of livelihood for all. It is duty of the state to provide appropriate or to create opportunities for the people to earn livelihood at the every levels of the society. Second one is social principles. Let us have example: to make efforts to raise the standard of living and public health, means the state government will work in that manner or make policies in that manner in which it will have an potential to uplift the standard of living of the people and their health. Second one is to guard children against exploitation and moral degradation, means it will be the duty of the states to generate moral values and to prevent them from exploitation. It will be the considerable point for the state government while making policies. Third one is Gandhian principles. In these two tools are there examples: to organize village panchayats, means it is one of the tool to make democracy reachable at the grassroots level, and to promote cottage industries. Cottage industry means small industries in which the household will be capable to earn livelihood for them. So this will be the policies principles while making uh, policies at state level. The fourth and the last classification is principles related to international peace and security. In these principles, let us to example to maintain just and honorable relation between nations. Means India will work in that manner, and various states will cooperate with the central government so that India will be able to maintain peaceful and friendly relation with the other nations. And the second example is to promote international peace and security. So there will be emphasis on promoting international peace and security for the global peace. So these are the classification of the directive principles of state policy. Now let us talk about significance of directive principle of state policy. Though the directive principle of state policy are not justiciable means they cannot be forced by law. Yet these are the moral obligations on the part of governments at all levels to work for the welfare of the people. Means the state government will work for the welfare of people. Many directive principles have been implemented and they have come either legislation or fundamental rights such as right to education, which where it was one of the directive principle also, it was one of the fundamental duty also. So it became a fundamental right under Article 21A in 2002. Second one is Environment Protection and Wildlife Protection Acts have been passed. So it was one of the fundamental duties to protect the environment. In the previous classes we have talked about. So environment protection and for environment protection and wildlife protection, the legal act have been enacted. National Commission for the Welfare of Women have been established. Means there have been a separate women welfare commission which will work for the betterment, which will work for the empowerment of women. The fourth one is right to work has been implemented for the rural employment, and Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act has been passed. This is the example of the Gandhian principle under which the democracy, the work has been reached up to the grassroots level. So all these things are about directive principle of state policy. In the next video we will talk about the secularism and the nature of Indian secularism. So till then keep watching. Thanks and have a nice day. Thank you.